الحمد لله الذي هدانا للإيمان وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك وله الحمد، يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله بعث بالدين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah As-Saff, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لما تقولون ما لا تفعلون كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون. Inshallah, today we will reflect on some of the ayat in the Quran that we read and pass by, not realizing the meaning and the advice and how important it is to understand. As we read this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling those who believe, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, and inshallah we count ourselves among them. So what does Allah ask the believers in this case? He says, لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. Why do you say what you do not do? SubhanAllah. Why do you say what you do not do? كَبُرَ مَقْتًا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَن تَقُولُوا مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala despises very much that you say what you do not do. SubhanAllah. And as we reflect on ourselves, we have to ask ourselves how many of us applies to us this ayah, that we say a lot that we do not do. Because the ayah is clear, those who believe, do not say what you do not do. Only if you do it, say it. SubhanAllah. And we'll reflect, as we know Abdullah ibn Umar, somebody came to him and said, I want to do da'wah, good deeds. He wants to go out for the sake of Allah to ask people to become Muslims. So Abdullah ibn Umar told him, and you're not afraid? You're not afraid to do da'wah? He says, why should I? It's a good deed. He said, didn't you read in the Quran, لِمَا تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ? Why do you say what you do not do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala despises very much that you say what you do not do. So before you go and ask people to be good, you have to ask yourself, am I doing this? Or am I just giving free advice that doesn't apply to me? And he also narrated to him the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسُكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَتْلُونَ الْكِتَابِ. Do you ask people to do good and you forget yourself while you're reading the book? SubhanAllah. Ask people to do good but forget yourself. So here Abdullah ibn Umar is telling this man, ain't you afraid? Before you say something, ask yourself, am I applying it to myself? And remember what we said a few weeks ago, where the Shaykh after the Jum'ah prayer asked his son to buy something, and he told him, with what money, Dad? He said, the money I gave you earlier. He said, well, I heard your speech about giving for the sake of Allah, and it touched me so much that I gave the money for the sake of Allah. He said, this is not for us, it's for other people to give for us. Other people to give, subhanAllah. So here, لِمَا تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. SubhanAllah. And most of us say, why not encourage people, give them, motivate them, subhanAllah. Well, if you want to ask people to give for the sake of Allah, Rasulullah said, save yourself from Jahannam, from hellfire, even bishaqti tamra, a piece of a date, not just the one full date, a piece of a date. So everybody could give a piece of a date. And then the Sahaba asked him, Ya Rasulullah, what if we don't have a piece of a date? SubhanAllah, what if we don't have? Look at ourselves here. How many of us could give a whole date or a pound of dates or 2 pounds of dates? Not a piece of a date, but they could not. So Rasulullah told them, maybe a smile then, a smile to your brother, subhanAllah. So all of us could give before we say, لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. We say what we do not do. And as we know, some of the people went to Hasan al-Basri, asking him to give a speech about freeing slaves. And he said, okay, and they waited a few weeks and he didn't. And then finally, he gave a great speech about freeing slaves. and people started to want to free slaves. So they came to him and said, why didn't you say this when we first asked you? Why did you wait so long? You see how people are motivated now. So he said, I did not have money to free a slave. So I waited till I saved enough to free a slave, and then I could tell people free slaves. Because of the ayah, why do you say what you do not do? لِمَا تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. And we have to reflect on ourselves as a nation. We're constantly saying what we do not do. I was discussing with some of the friends this ayah, and the friend said, no, it's okay. It's okay to motivate people. It's okay to say things. If we cannot do it, why not motivate others? Subhanallah. Even the ayah is clear. Because unless we understand what it entails and what it means, we should not do it. But we're always giving free advice to everybody else except ourselves. أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do you ask people to do good and you forget yourself? So we cannot ask people to do good before we do it ourselves. And if we can't, we should stay quiet, because then we will improve. And as we remember that Sultan Abdul Hamid, the Ottoman Emperor, when he wanted to hire an Imam Masjid, some of the qualification he put in the job description, he has to have memorized the Quran and the Hadith, and he has to memorize Arabic poems, so many, and he has to do so much, and he has to and then the final thing he had to do, fight in the sake of Allah. He told him, we understand for the Imam to memorize the Quran and know the Sunnah, but why should he have did jihad for the sake of Allah? He said, what if the nation is in trouble and they have to defend themselves? I don't want him to stand on the member telling people to do something he does not understand and he has not lived himself. He has to understand the consequences before he sits and gives advice. Subhanallah. This is what we have to realize about ourselves. Reflect on everything we say, and before we say it, do we say we do it? And then hold our tongues. If we don't do it, till we go out and do it and realize maybe it's a hardship. Why do we advise people of something that we don't understand the consequences of it and how hard it is, rather than we all advise each other and we do not do? Subhanallah. لِمَا تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ كَبُرَ مَقْتًا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَن تَقُولُوا مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala despises so much that one of us would sit and say things we do not do. Subhanallah. And here we have to be clear that we watch what we say and only say what we do, and inshallah we'll get ahead, inshallah. And then as we look at the ayat, some of the ayat in Surah Al-Qalam, and we've shared this one before, where a good man died and his children inherited his land and his gardens. And they, always the children think they're smarter than the parents, they know better. The good man used to give for the sake of Allah so much. And they said, our father has given so much. Why not this year we take all the crop for ourselves and just give a little? But they know that it's a habit for the poor. When they see the crop ready and people are picking the crop, they go to the garden to ask. So what do they decide? They plan, why not we go at night where the poor does not see? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes it, فَانْتَرَكُوهُمْ يَتَخَافَتُونَ. They went quietly, because they don't want the poor to hear they're going to pick the crops, so they, out of habit, they go to and ask. إِنْ أَلَّا يَدْخُلْهَا الْيَوْمَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِسْكِينٌ. No poor person will come today. Should we not going to give any to the poor, because they want to invest more and buy more and grow more, subhanallah. This is a sentiment we all have sometimes. We know better. So, what happened when they went at night, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had sent an angel to destroy it, and they found it all destroyed. And they realized, maybe why Allah subhanahu was providing is for these poor. And once they decided to stop giving the poor, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken it away. Subhanallah. We have to realize we don't know why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the rizq. And as we know in Hadith al-Ifk, when people said bad things about the Sayyidah Aisha, and there was one of the servants of Abu Bakr who said the same thing, and he went going saying that she must have done something bad. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had cleared her name, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he said, I'm never going to give him any more. SubhanAllah. Because he said bad things about his daughter, the wife of Rasulullah. So the ayah came down and said, أَلَا تَحِبُّونَ أَنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. Keep giving them, because don't you want that Allah forgives you? So Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, I will give him and I'll never stop giving him again. SubhanAllah. So we don't know why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides for us. Let's not stop the good deeds. You never know which good deed we do in our life that provides for us in al-dunya and will be the forgiving thing in al-akhirah. As we shared the hadith before, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, I seen a man enjoying himself in al-Jannah. What did he do? He found a branch of a tree in the road, and he said, I'll take it off the road so it doesn't hurt my Muslim brothers. Take it off the road. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him to al-Jannah, and he's with the branch, enjoying himself in al-Jannah with the branch. We don't know what good deed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send us. How many of us see some harm in the road and we take it off for the sake of Allah? Not because it's my job, not because I'm paid for it. It is for the sake of Allah.